Hey guys, it's the Plum Dot here and welcome back to my channel for part number 2 of the Malan Hall renovation. So as you can see, we are here on the lower level of the dorm and we are starting on the left side, which in the original layout, this was the hangout room. But I really wanted, when you first walked into Malan Hall, to kind of get like that elegant, prestigious Ivy League vibe. So I've moved the study room to the front. So Malan Hall is now kind of like a mullet. It's business in the front and party in the back. So I'm just going through and I'm putting down some paneling. And for some reason, paneling and dark wood paneling says prestige and elite to me. And if I ever had a library in real life, I would definitely put paneling on the walls and I would line the walls with bookshelves, which is what I'm going to do in a moment after I finish with the fireplace. So here I go, and these bookshelves are actually going to move because I had an idea while I was laying things out, and this is something that I really want in my own home. I really want a flippin' secret door, a library bookshelf secret door. I just think that would be so cool to have in a house, and I've always wanted something like that. So I had to reconfigure the bookshelves and just line that entire back wall with them, but the secret door does work and you can get to sort of the hangout room from the study area. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for sharing your university and college stories with me. They were very, very interesting to read, and I love stuff like that. But I've got another question for you guys. If you're in university, or if you've gone to university, or if you're going to university, what is your favorite class that you've taken? What classes are you looking forward to? What do you enjoy? And what are you stuttering? What are you studying? What's your major? When I was at university, some of my favorite classes were definitely my architecture classes. I took history of architecture, so I got to learn about all different time periods, all different architectural styles, and I really, really loved those classes. I really, really enjoyed them. But I have to say that one of my absolute favorite classes was actually a class called the FIG class. Now, every freshman at my university has the option of taking a FIG class, which stands for Freshman Interest Group. And what it does is it's classes based on the type of major that you want to go into. And then it puts all the freshmen that are interested in that same major in the same classes so that you see familiar faces when you're going about campus life. So you've already got this sort of core group of people that have the same interests as you and also the same classes. So I really enjoyed that particular class when I was a freshman, but when I was a sophomore, I actually became a FIG leader. So I was a freshman interest group leader, and I did that because at one point in my life, I actually wanted to be a teacher. So I got to do all my own curriculum. I got to set out the syllabus and do the class activities because there were a few activities that I had to set for my class. And so I got to teach about 20 to 25 freshmen, I think it was, or maybe it was 15 to 20. But I had a group of freshmen where I was involved in giving grades, and I was involved in grading their papers, and I was there if they had any questions about freshman life, and it was honestly just really, really cool. Now, I didn't go on to study teaching and become a teacher. I think I'd just be too much of a hard ass, if I'm completely honest, because I actually did fail someone in my freshman interest group class, and it's really, really tough to fail that class. I mean, basically all you have to do is turn in the assignments and show up where you're meant to be, and this person was not showing up where they were meant to be when they were meant to be there, so I had to fail her. And I feel like people wouldn't like me as a teacher because I'm kind of like a stickler for the rules. I definitely wouldn't be one of those cool teachers, I don't think. So I put that on the back burner, but I really did enjoy teaching in that moment that I got to teach. It was honestly pretty cool. But yeah, let me know. I want to know what you guys are studying, what your favorite classes were or are. And yeah, I just would find that very, very interesting. So you will see when we get to the screenshots of part 4 that this room does change. The layout does change because I added in another computer. In the original layout, I believe there were 4 computers. So I end up moving the computer that's behind the sofa and I make a sort of 4-top desk of computers, and then I move the chess table where the computer behind the sofa is, if that makes sense. But like I said, you will see that in part 4. So I am recoloring everything, and you will notice that most of the things that came with university life are your bog standard colors. And I just thought in my mind when I was decorating that the university put in the sort of bog standard furniture, but then you'll see some things that have sort of pops of colors, like the armchairs that are near the fireplace. And I just sort of thought that maybe the students brought in their own armchairs and wanted to give it a little bit of flair. So that's why you'll see a mixture of the university stuff as well as some things with color. So we've moved back into the sort of party area, and that back wall that I just painted is actually a chalkboard wall. So I thought that would be kind of cool to put that down, and the students could kind of leave little messages for people. So I'm just putting down the foosball table and some more places for them to sit. I've already plonked down the television for them to sort of hang out and chill in. And I really like this room. I just think it's really, really cool. Now you will see at some point that I do throw a juice kegger down, or a juice keg down, but when I was play testing, I actually removed it. And so the only juice keggers that you will find on this lower level, even though you'll see me throw a couple more down, are actually outside. So all of the partying, I thought, for this particular dorm will happen on the top 2 levels, because there was a little bit more space, and I know that Sims can get quite finicky with using the juice kegger. So this right here is obviously CC, and like I said, it is a chalkboard wall. So I had some like doodles that I wanted to put on the wall, so it looked like the students had just come in and written some things down for their fellow dormitory students to remember, or some funny little things. So I'm just going through all of the chalkboard doodles that I have, and it took me forever. You're gonna see in a minute that I've just done it. I switched the background to white because all of the things that are chalkboard are actually in black, and I couldn't see them, and it was just taking forever to switch everything to white. So I do flick back and forth between white and black on the background, but I do actually, of course, stay with the black to make it look like a chalkboard. So we've got seize the day there, and I think there's something that says shit happens. Oh, shit happens, deal with it. And there's a bike. So I just kind of wanted to put all different types of chalkboard writing. And my favorite is I love you like a fat kid loves cake, because that's me, like, same. And then you can see in the bottom right corner at the moment, there's a bicycle. And so I kind of wanted to represent all of these social groups that come with university. So you've got the rebels, the jocks, and the nerds. And I feel like they're pretty equally represented on this chalkboard wall. But I just thought that was a really cool feature. And you've got like a grocery list that they could put up for when they have parties and things like that. And now I'm just going to throw on some paintings and some posters, just to give it a little bit more life and a little bit more fun. But I do end up changing them because I realized, and you'll see in a minute, that I think I used this painting that we're looking at right now in the study room. So I decided to change that out. But then you will also see, and I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but on the thumbnail of part 1, I had actually changed out the windows, and I didn't do that until we actually got to the dining room, which the dining room is my favorite part of this level. I just think it is so cool because it reminds me of an actual dining hall that you would have in an actual dorm. And I was talking about it in part 1, where I tried to sort of mix like a real life dorm, but then this also has the feel of a sorority and a fraternity at the same time. So I don't know what you want to call this, but it's kind of a mix of like real life dorms and then fraternities and sororities. Like, I feel like the front study area is definitely more something that you would see in a fraternity or a sorority rather than a dorm, but I really like how that turned out, and I really like how this back room turned out. So you're gonna see some funky patterns and also mix in with the standard university furniture as well. So I'm just changing out the poster. As you can see, I used it in the front room, but then the front room actually, I think those go away. They change because I end up putting in different windows, but you'll see that I will show you all of it in the final screenshots. So I'm just going through and I am recoloring this room here, and we are almost finished with it. And I just really like how it turned out. Like, I would really want to chill in a room. If I've been studying all day and I've had a hard day in class and my professors were just being ornery or whatever, I would just come and I would chill in this room. I would play some foosball. I would play some console games. I was going to say Xbox games, but I'd play some console games and just hang out on the sofa. This just looks like a really relaxing hangout space. And you can see, like I said, you've got the keg there, but that moves because there is no way that Sims would be able to interact with that. They'd be stomping their feet and it would just be a big old mess. So I actually do get rid of that, but there are plenty of spots to party in this dorm. So I wanted to do something, again, a little bit different, and I wanted to section off. I wanted to keep the front and the back sectioned off and make them completely different spaces. So you can see that I have done so by putting in this little, I'm going to call it a barrier, but put in these walls. And I actually go in and put in a what is it called? It's a door. It's called a door. I actually go in and put a door. So it is completely sectioned off. And my thinking when I was doing that, and I don't know if it was the smartest thing that I've ever done in my life, but my thinking was like, when your parents come to visit your dorm and you don't want them to know what's happening in the back of the house, so there's a door there and it stays locked. But I mean, parents never come to visit their Sims at university, but I was trying to like make this as realistic as possible in my head, and it made sense in my head, but it may not make sense to you guys. So definitely, if you do end up downloading this, when I put it up for download, you can go ahead and open everything back up if you like, because I've seen a lot of university Let's Plays, and when parties happen, they usually happen in the front of the dorm and not so much in the back of the dorm. But I really wanted to keep that sectioned off, and that was just my personal preference. But again, like I said, if you download it, you can change it. So I'm just putting in some knickknacks and some mirrors and some like a little seating. It's a coffee table, but I just imagine Sims sitting down on that and taking off their shoes. Maybe, I don't know what I was thinking, but I just like how it looks. I'm just really happy with how this whole dorm turned out. So I'm just changing the stair colors because I like the dark colors. I think I'm going through a really dark phase because a lot of my builds, and not just this one, are very super duper dark. But here I go, and I'm gonna put in the door just to keep things sectioned off. So I don't know, it looks like everything's kosher, but really in the back of this dorm there are some raging parties that happen. So there I go, and I've put down another keg. I mean, how many kegs does a dorm need? And I actually end up getting rid of both of those kegs and just making this an extension of the hangout room. So I'm going to be putting down some arcade machines so that your nerds can have something to do down on this level, and I think those give you sort of nerd points if you play on the arcade machines. I am not completely 100% sure, but yes, I'm just going through and I'm decorating this little space, and because I have sectioned it off, it has made it quite small, but I think it functions as it needs to function, which is, like I said, just an extension of the little hangout place. So I've put in a little bar, and it's not a professional bar, so your Sims will actually have to make their own drinks, but I do believe that on the top level or the second level, I do put in a professional bar, so you should be able to ring a mixologist if you want to have that sort of raging party, which I think would be really cool. I don't think I ever attended a party at university where they had mixologists, but I've heard of parties where mixologists were brought in to bartend. So that is pretty darn cool. So I'm just going through and putting in some lights because again, with the paneling, it is super duper dark. So we had to brighten the space up just a skosh and make sure that you could see and that your Sims could see what was going on. So another thing that I do want to say about this entire build, which took me ages, it took me about 13 hours to do everything for this particular dorm filming wise. That's how much footage I had. I actually recolor everything on camera, and that's probably why it took me so long, except for the bedrooms. Once I got to the bedrooms, I was like, I can't because it's going to be so difficult to try to work out the personalities that I had in mind for particular Sims on camera, as well as think of the type of colors that they would like, which again, if you download it, you can completely change everything. I won't be offended, but I was just like, I've got to do this off camera because I've got to think and I've got to design, and all these things are running through my head at the same time. So I just wanted to spare you guys the height of indecision. So here I am with the school colors. So like I said in part 1, I kind of decided that it would be olive green and sort of white gray. So you're going to see a lot of olive green and white throughout this renovation. And I just think they go well together. And like I said, I'm not out of my olive green phase as of yet. I'm still really enjoying it, so I just thought I would stick with it. And so this is pretty much how this little space turns out. And now we're gonna move to my favorite room, the dining room. So I made it a little bit bigger, opened it up to the kitchen completely, not completely, but I really wanted this to be like a cafe. So a lot of the dorms at my university, they all had sort of cafes, and they were more like dining halls than they were dining rooms. And so I kind of wanted to reflect that in this particular renovation. Now you'll see that I placed down the bar, the what is it called? It's a bar, but it's like a delicatessen bar from the store set, the Delicatessen Bakery. So of course that is store content, and losing my train of thought. And a sim won't show up to man that bar, but it is available for your Sims to use. So it's not completely useless, but nobody will be there to sell your Sims baked goods. Your Sims will actually have to go and just sort of get them themselves. But again, you can get rid of that if you don't like the look of it. But I just really enjoyed how that looked, and it made it a little bit more realistic to me. So I'm going through, and I've chosen 3 different chairs that I liked. And I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have this in a university, but I like mixing and matching chairs, and I don't like everything to be matchy. So that's what I've done for the dining area, and that's your little space. And I have tested that out, and your Sims can get to all of the seating areas and sit down. I think it was Skip Taylor. I think I had Skip Taylor go in and sit in every seat and make sure that he could get there, and there were no feet stomping or anything like that. And then I also placed down the vending machines because, again, that seems really realistic to me, is to have vending machines in a dorm, just in case you wanted to grab a quick snack or a quick energy drink or anything like that for your Sims, maybe before they head out to an exam. And then I also put in this seating here, this bar seating. I think it's from Late Night, but I think it really fits really well in that back corner just to sort of hang out and chill. And you guys will see that I placed down this small little television from Late Night as well. And you know, your Sims can hang out and watch TV. Now I'm pretty sure when I was decorating the bedrooms, every single dorm room has a TV except for one, I want to say. So that one Sim can come down and hang out in the sort of cafeteria. That's what we'll call this. It's a little cafeteria, and I just think it's so cute and so realistic. But then it's also not realistic because in a cafeteria you're gonna have all the same matching chairs. I don't know. I was just going for like a meld of realism, but then also simism. Is that even a word? I don't know. So I do have a little bit of store content here. Obviously the delicatessen bar, and then also the chalkboard is from the Delicious Bakery. That's what it's called. It's not a delicatessen. It's from the Delicious Bakery store set. So those are store content. And then the brick pattern that you see as the backsplash, that is custom content. And I told a little bit of a fib in part 1 where I said that I didn't use a lot of store content, or not store content, I didn't use a lot of custom content, but actually the entire brick on the outside of this dorm is custom content. But I know exactly where it came from, so I'll be able to link it, and you guys should be able to download it if you so wish to do so. But because it's brick, it's not going to make a big difference if you don't and you just use one of the in-game bricks. And then also the flooring is custom content, but that is from Cake Noodles, and I know exactly where I got that, so I can link that for you. And then as well, those paintings that I just put on the wall are also not store content, are also custom content, so I'll be able to link those to you as well. I made sure that anything that I was going to use in this particular build, I knew exactly where I got it, or I was able to find it, just so if you wanted the dorm to look exactly as it is, as I have it, then you're able to do so. Because in one of my last builds that I did, the Red Rendezvous, there were a couple items where I had no clue where I'd gotten them, because I wasn't originally planning to put it up for download. But since I did, I decided not to do that in this build, and gosh, I am just rambling on, but that's okay, that's me. So just doing a little bit of recoloring here with these posters, and I really love these. I just think they're super cute, and they just fit in really well with this particular room, because as you can see, everything is sort of black and white, and that's what I was going for. Again, I really wanted sort of like, I don't know, it just says funky, fun, upper class, hipster, all of that. It says all of that is dining room, and I just think it looks really, really cool. So of course you've got a little bit of the green there. You've got to have the green with the black and the white, and then I'm just recoloring these vending machines, and then we're going to move on to the kitchen, which I made it a little bit bigger because the kitchen was really, really tiny. So here we go, and I actually end up getting rid of that door because there were so many doors in the back of this dorm that I just didn't think it was completely necessary. But I love how this kitchen turned out. I think it just looked really, really cool, and I'm going to change the backsplash in a bit to more of a subway tile, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But there's ample seating in here, so if your Sims can't sit in the dining room, I don't know if they're having like a raging party or something, there's plenty of space to sit in the kitchen. There's plenty of prep space, and I just wanted to make the kitchen a little bit more high-end. These are the high-end dorms. Like, if you want like a really crazy, amazing experience with all the best appliances in the kitchen, this is the dorm that you're going to come to. And I kept with the double fridges, so there are 2 fridges in this kitchen like there were originally, and it just made sense because I believe that you can have like 8 Sims in here, but there's room for more. But obviously when you go to university, you can have 8 Sims in there, so if you had more than 1 Sim in the kitchen, they can definitely get to the fridge because there's 2 of them. But yeah, so I went with this subway tile, and I'm changing it yet again. But I think I do go back to the subway tile just because I thought it looked really, really good. And I believe I changed the countertops, but actually I don't. I think I keep the countertops exactly the same. And now I'm starting to wonder if I don't even change to the subway tile for the backsplash. I'm not sure. It's like I said, it's been quite some time since I've done this. And so I've put this seating in here, and it's just 2 islands facing each other. So you've got 4 seats there for your Sims to sit down. And then I wanted to create like a little space for the microwave, for a coffee pot, and for the food processor. And I don't know, I just wanted to keep it a little bit separate, just so there's lots of room for your Sims to move around, and they're not going to be on top of each other if they're all in the kitchen at once per se. I'm really curious to know if I change this backsplash. I have not a clue, but we are almost to the end of this particular part, which we made it through. That was a lot of talking on my part, but I think I'm gonna go ahead, wrap it up here. Love you and leave you guys with some music and the rest of the video. But if you enjoyed this part, make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to check back for part 3, which should be coming out next week. And if you aren't already subscribed and you like what you see, why don't you go ahead and hit that button. Don't be a plum stranger now, guys. Bye!